Hello, everyone. So this video is going to be a little bit of a departure and different from how I generally, read things. Probably will end up being a lot more talking than anything, but we will check in with the cards at the end just to see what they want to reveal. Because it is kind of an interesting out there concept that we're going to talk about. So, and you may not have even heard this terminology before, but I just wanted to discuss well, in some circles, it's called the event. Um, so the final event that's going to happen in Earth's ascension. It's sometimes referred to as the Great Solar Flash or the Grand Solar Flash. And yeah, and really just wanted to kind of go over it with you, because it's like at the moment, it's the it's the stage of things we're in. As I do get a lot of questions from people often that say, like, when is this going to end? And when, you know, like, when is this intense energy is going to end? And the unfortunate answer or fortunate answer is that it's not, right? This is a process. It's like we've started on this journey and we are going to go through it and see it through to fruition. So there's going to be periods of time. I've had it often described as ascension or that it's a process of being in a spiral. So, like, for a little while, we're slowly coasting on, and then we get whipped around and up even further. So, what I'm just going to do is try to not make this a real, like, ramble video because I do have a lot to say on this subject. But it's just as soon as I start talking about it, I kind of just like start going off on tangents because it, I've been kind of going down this rabbit hole, if you want to call it, for a while since I'd say 2017 was when I first sort of started to hear this terminology. So I, yeah, in about 2017, I had started to really get into YouTube and finding videos on the Schumann resonance and how Earth's frequency was actually, raising in vibration and frequency. So I started there, and then that led to just different channelers um, and and then it's interesting because all the people I started to follow all started to talk about the same thing at the same time. So when I first heard about the event, I was convinced it was like happening like right away that year. That was 2017. In fact, it was kind of funny because I think it was either that year or the year after I went on a trip to Vegas, and I was panicked a little bit inside, and I couldn't tell other people, but the whole time that this event was going to happen and I wasn't going to be near my dog at home. He was going to be alone for it. So, um, yeah, when you're looking at it in like, that's kind of like why I want to talk about this a bit because it's what's happening now so that it isn't so scary um, and that we just realize that it's incrementally happening. So, yeah, so when I first learned about it too, and you can go and look this up. There's I was listening to some channels and hypnosis sessions with Allison Coe on her channel. I believe it's still up there. It talks about the event, and it's interesting from the perspective of the person that was having the hypnosis done. It all like happened very fast and sequentially, like in the moment. But with all things, it's like, well, we're not really given a date as to when things are going to happen. So at the beginning, when I first heard that, yeah, it was a little bit of it. It was a little terrifying. It was but at the same time, it was kind of exciting because we were so ready for some kind of change, energetically and spiritually, and I was like, and even now, like as we're getting to this, it's like the amount of time that it's taking to actually happen is it sometimes gets feeling hopeless. We're like, oh my God, how long is this going to take? Like, when is this going to happen? I've been doing this for like, you know, 7, 8 years already. And, like I always refer to, other people have been doing this for 20 plus years. Anyway, so again, I'm going to try not to get rambly here, but it's kind of hard. So I just want to share uh, what I kind of see is like happening. So it sort of started as I started to understand the Schumann resonance, and the frequency of Earth. And then um, getting into that led into starting to pay attention to the solar flares. So 2018, 2019, even 2020, there was flares, but there wasn't, there was only, they were every once in a while. And I could tell when they were coming in. I would get ringing in my ears, and I would feel kind of wonky. And then we, flash forward to this year, and they're just like pretty constant. Like, so what I just wanted to explain, and definitely go do your own research on the event or the solar flash. But take the things you watch totally with a grain of salt, because it sounds like in that timeline that it happens like immediately and fast. And what I'm here to say is that what as I'm perceiving it is that it is happening for us incrementally, so that it doesn't throw us off. So some people though, who are, let's say, that I would say like more spiritually advanced, or have been doing the work a lot longer, they're on a timeline for themselves where the event has already happened and they're well into the new energy. Um, Again, this is a lot of like suspending beliefs, because you have to get into the whole like quantum physics and timelines, and that it's a multi-dimensional universe, and we are working on different dimensions all the time. So I mean, those are big concepts, and it's certainly not something you have to immediately tuck into your belief system. I would highly encourage, you know, just starting to do research on the concepts of those. But anyway, I did want to go over the event just because it's from what I can see after all this time. Finally, it is starting to happen, and it has started since I'd say 2019. 2020 woke a lot of people up, for just varying reasons. But yeah, these solar flashes or solar flares are coming in more frequently. And so I just think what it is that as the planet is raising in vibration, and we're invited to go along for that journey, but it's all up to us. It is a free will planet after all. Um, and some people, like I said, they are going to stay in that lower frequency until they're ready. It's still going to be, even if it happens incrementally, too much for them to handle. So, but I'm seeing it from this point of view, and now I know I'm other people that I'm talking to, that especially if you're watching this, are starting to see it too. The different things are starting to be more evident and appear. So we are raising in frequency, both the planet and ourselves. And that's why we always tell you to keep that vibe high, because what you're doing as a, in this human body, is creating a vessel, so that when this energy fully comes in, it's, you've spent all this time integrating it, and you're an open vessel for that to come in softly and more manageable, right? So it's not like there is just a big crash bang boom solar flash, and it's very disconcerting. So it's like we get downloads and information, and we upgrade, and it's just like a slow process of upgrading. So it's nothing to fear, and it's what, it's divinely planned, and it's what we came here to be a part of. So I think that's also why it's happening slowly, and incrementally, and to the point that sometimes, yeah, it feels frustrating, because it's like we're not getting anywhere and nothing's really happening. I know I've been talking to people about this for like 4+ years, And they're like, well, you keep saying this, but when is it going to happen? And I'm like, well, I don't have the answer to when, but the reason I'm putting out this video today is because I'm seeing that we're in it. It's started, it has begun. I cannot answer for you how long this process is, and I think it's different for all of us. I think some of us, uh, you know, we may still get trapped sometimes in that lower energy. And it's not that we stop the process from happening, because it's going to happen no matter what, but we slow it down so that it's easier for us to handle on the spiritual level. So, and that's the thing too, is that, you have that option too to, like, if you think you're ready, is to, raise your frequency, and your vibration as high as you can, and then ask for the next steps. If you think you're ready to take that on and integrate it, fully bring it on. um, but eventually we get to the point where it's like collectively, where there's enough of us, and it merges together, and we all go together. There's the saying, where we go one, we go all. Like, eventually, uh, it all comes together in cohesion. So, yeah, that's just, I just wanted to share that because, I know in the past, like when I first listened to the Allison Coe stuff and I passed that on to some people, it like, it freaked some people out. And to be honest, it freaked me out too, because it was like, it was talking about just like a period of time where everybody would kind of, I don't want to say blank out, but like, um, yeah, but like shut down until they were ready to be turned on and reactivated. And I know just all our 3D brains went to like, oh my God, are planes just gonna like drop out of the sky and people crash their cars? And like, what's gonna happen to the animals? And who's gonna look after my kids while yeah. So there was so many questions with it that, um, at first it was scary. And so that's why I kind of wanted to talk about this because, uh, you know, it's not, um, it's not scary. And at any time that it becomes overwhelming or too much, it's just a matter of asking our guides to slow down the process for us, or to, bring it in softer, or however you need to word that, so that it's like, okay, or it's just like you get a big integration and you know that your body and mind and soul are integrating this stuff, that you take the time to then go meditate it and allow it to integrate, or rest, or take a weekend where you do just lie in bed all weekend, or just journal and have self retreats and those kind of things. So it's, like I said, it's not something that's going to happen immediately. um, it's a process, and we're going through it. And so, that's why we're meeting up here and going through it together. So, um, yeah, I find it rather exciting. I'm kind of excited. It is nice to finally not just have it like in theory, which is what I was, previous to this, was just hearing different channelers and practitioners of QHHT, and those sessions, and but not having any sort of like tangible proof of it. But now it's, I'm able to see that this is started, and it is a gradual process so that we can integrate it. So, yeah. And part of the big thing that we have to get through this next little bit is we integrate it, but integrate it with grace, and be present enough um, to to enjoy it. That's the tricky part right now, is we're so wrapped up in the world outside, and it's, creating so much fear and division, and like, well, just so much fear that, you know, we just are like, looking for a quick answer out. But we gotta be just as respectful that it is happening, and it's going to take some time, and we will appreciate that time um, because it's a huge process. It's a huge shift. Oh, that's the other thing it's called. Um, anyway, I don't know if that answers anybody's questions. Um, and drop a comment below if this would be a fun one to do in a live and just answer any questions that I can, kind of thing. So yeah, I just wanted to share that just because finally I feel like we're at the point where this is happening, and we're just going to keep getting, if not daily, then weekly, then monthly, then, just more and more upgrades and more changes that allow us to fully shift into this energy. Anyway, what I want to do now is I'm going to do some cards. We're just going to specifically focus on kind of what we can do, what this shift is really about. Um, yeah, just let's see what the cards have to say. I'm going to do 3 of each of these guys. Um, and yeah, it's kind of exciting. I still think it's funny. I still am laughing just because I remember, I remember I was terrified when I was like, and then the energy just shifts and like everything changes and like where is all the stuff and how does this work out? But it's like don't worry, it's gonna happen in a gradual process so that we can all like enjoy it. Okay, first card, I'm gonna use the portal deck just because it's in that frequency of the energies we're heading into. The Seraphim's Gateway, voice activation, angelic attunement, and divine support. So it's just confirming for us this is divinely orchestrated. It was always meant to happen. We're being attuned to higher frequencies and higher levels of being. Yeah, that's funny. The Pleiadian activation, coming together, harmony in the heavens, resolution. This one's like super important because the Pleiadians are playing a really big role in this ascension. They came to to facilitate this particular time and event in time and space. Well, they don't do time. They don't do time, but they do space. It's really hard to understand. It's interesting too because sometimes if you do a little bit of research on the Pleiadians, um, it's kind of said that they're actually in the timeline of that they are us. They are human form, but they're from the future coming back, knowing the mistakes that were made and where this planet originally ended up. Um, and they are here to fine tune and course correct that. So, yeah, that's kind of a fun concept. Anyway, now you're like, oh my God, that's really out there. A lot of this stuff is, though. Like, it's big and it's well beyond the 3D matrix. It's like you have to suspend a lot of belief. But anyway, Pleiadians, they're good to call on too as we go through this. Just to, again, if spirit guides or angels work for you, then use those. But you can always, these guys are orchestrating this whole thing. They're sort of the divine director of how this is going down. There's a couple other like things in there. Um, this is a big project. This ascension of Earth. It's been 20,000 years in the making. So you know. Hmm. Anyway, so the important part of this though is the coming together. It's like it's finally where we get to the point, and this is coming together of our galactic family, not just us, but the human race coming together and creating harmony within the spheres. So, with all the planets in this universe and some of the beyond universes. And then we got the Venusian Galactic Council. Star being guides, answer the call, time to share. Yeah, if you're watching this, it's because inside there's um, that knowledge and that inkling that something is happening. And so this is about the Venusians too. Venus, very high frequency of love. Um, so just knowing that it's time to shine. It's time for us to come back to love, and love is all there is. And this is the whole point of this ascension, is to bring us into peace and love and harmony, because that's how it's supposed to be. The unfortunate thing is, you know, this we've been living on this planet that was stuck in a lower and dense energy, but that veil is being lifted. Um, and yeah, like I said, we get this full opportunity to go along for the ride. Um, so like I'm ready to go. My bags are packed. Um, I'm I don't want to stay in this low energy anymore. It just doesn't, it's too hard. It's it's too crushing, and why would we not want to pick better, right? I was out with a friend the other day and we talked about this because I was like, why do we pick the, like, it's like, the lower energy, it's what I know and it's comfortable, so I'm gonna stay down here and pick uh lack, disease, poverty, uh war. Like, why do we do that? Why, when we know we have an option, do we pick the safe and not secure, like not pleasant? It's the strangest part of humans that I don't ever quite understand. It's like the manifestation thing too. Like, it makes me laugh because it's like, you know, well, I mean, we're on the planet fear. I like to call it planet fear. The game is really good. They can turn up that fear dial and we're all right in it and just feeding that energy. And but it's just time for that to end. So, yeah, I always say, like, when you think about things like, you know, like, we always like horror movies and that, doomsday movies and the earth ending, being attacked by alien, like all of that stuff. It's always so negative. There's never a positive movie about that. Like, or like my favorite has been like the world ending, right? The plague of locusts. I'm like, what if we didn't all think that for like 20 minutes and we thought about, you know, when waking up one morning and it's butterflies everywhere. I've given this analogy before, but we don't do that. we we totally go for the worst case scenario, and then we usually end up manifesting it, or we have been crazily manifesting all this low fear energy on this planet for way too long, like way too long. Anyway, three more cards. So we got Lady Portia, which is divine order. Do what you feel is right. An important lesson is unfolding. Again, in regards to the shift, this is just simply saying, everything, this is a plan that has been in place for whoever knows how long, 20,000 years, maybe more. Um, and so everything is going to happen in divine order. And so just do the things that you feel are right to keep your energy high. Pretty, pretty easy, that one. All right. And then we also got Lord Shiva, which is transcendence. Rise up, rise up, honor your inner force. Steps are being given. Dance with the universe. Yeah, transcending this lower energy, just like I talked about. Stop feeding into the fear. Stop manifesting the worst case scenario. Why not believe in the unicorn and bring that energy for Earth? Why not believe in, going outside and it's northern lights all night and rainbows all day? Like, why can't we do that? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, that we instead focus on the low and low energy. It's time for us to transcend and rise above that thinking and that energy. Um, and just honoring, yeah, that inner force. We are here. Like, we didn't come here to just watch this happen. We're an active participant in it, because we have the right frequency and attunement within us to help facilitate this. So, dance with the universe. Steps are being given. So, again, it's about listening to the inner guidance and doing the meditation work, connecting with our guides, connecting with the universe, and really listening to what's being asked of us to be done. And then funny, we got Serapis Bay, which is the Ascension card. Move into your true self. Rise above the darkness. The light is here. It's happening. It's here. Let's have fun and be part of it. Like I said, it's like we got invited to the biggest show on earth, and right now it's like it's not easy. I know it's tough energy, but it's like we're not enjoying a single moment of this. It's gonna be like you went on the best trip ever. You went to a festival, and you're like your favorite artists were playing the festival, but you just were like in a pissy mood, and it started raining, and you just it's just like we just enjoyed no moment of it. And then when you look back, it's like, oh, everything was set up to really enjoy that. Why didn't I? Right? Okay, I'm going to do 3 of these yantra cards for the shift, for the shift. What else? The shift, the grand solar flash, ascension, whatever, it's got a few different names. The event. Okay. These are more cards about for us in this moment. What can we do to help facilitate? And the first card we got is grace, being guided. So yeah, it's being in that space, the heart space, and allowing the information to come in so that we're integrating it, and then we're able to consciously act on it, whatever that comes through, whatever guidance comes through for us to be able to keep facilitating this. Yeah, it's just being in a state of grace. Um, what's the best way to describe that? It's just being in the right frequency and being at peace and being just open and allowing this energy to come in, but also enjoying it, right? Just being in awe of it, just being so grateful for it all. Impeccability, we got as well, walking the path. So yeah, it like if whatever you're being course corrected to or guided to is like walk the path and do it with like, you know, unabashed full force, like throw yourself into it. Um Impeccability too is like, start, do what you say what you mean, all that good stuff, right? Be I always think that just comes up with the 4 agreements, like be impeccable with your word. So, but we can be impeccable with our lives too. It's like, it's, if you say you're going to do something, then do it. And if have reciprocity in your life, like you equally give as well as take, and take, but in equal measure, we're not overly doing those things. And then the last one we got is creativity, being the instrument. Yeah, we're the instrument for which this shift happens. So, um, yeah, those 3 cards are about being in a specific frame of mind, state of mind, and way of being, and just moving forward and going ahead and and doing it and doing the work. All right, so I don't know if that was helpful, but I did want to put that together, just because I do, like I said, I do get a lot of questions about what this all is and what it's really about and how long is it going to be. Again, I can't answer. Like you can listen to different channelers and stuff, and some of them say like, the bulk of this work will be, until Earth year 2033. So we've still got another 10 years to go. Like the thought of that makes me want to vomit because I'm like, oh my God. But I don't think it means that we have to put up with like, it will be able to access the higher energies. And so we won't be in the muck and the mire all the time, unless we put ourselves there. So it's just learning how uh, how we integrate these energies and work with them. So it is still always going to be a school. It always is a place of learning. Um, there's great lessons that we still have to learn. Um, a lot of that too has to do with our past on this planet. It's almost like a lot of that stuff before we can kind of fully integrate and move forward, it has to be reconciled for what happened, and not in a way where we like are pointing fingers and blaming people and expecting them to apologize and pay us back or whatever. It's more of just like we have to acknowledge what's happened, and then um, and then like any other situation, we put our energy into the love and light and raising the vibration of those situations, and that's how we cleanse and clear them. So yeah, we still are in that phase of like we have a lot of atonement for the past. We do have to clear up a lot of stuff, um, and again, all of us are at sort of different levels, and it's not a hierarchy or anything like that, but it's just keeping in mind that part of the lessons we do have to learn, like we have to uh, actively figure out how to vibrate in that state of love and grace all the time, and how do we stop the fear matrix and the division consciousness and the victim mentality, like all of those things have to be acknowledged and then transmuted. So we do have a lot of work to do. um, but I think we're going to see things get a little bit easier and to work, and more of our gifts and energies coming online so that we're able to facilitate those changes better. So I just, um, this kind of just popped out and then I flipped it up so I'm going to read it as well, but it's vision, create beauty. So yeah, it's totally the manifestation thing. Staying in the heart, raising our vibration, and creating the world that we want to see. Like, what do we really want to see? What beauty, what love, harmony, all those things that we came here to create that. So how we do that is keeping ourselves in a mindset where we're constantly um, hoping, dreaming, envisioning the best for ourselves and this planet and all its inhabitants. It's like every single creature, every tree, every blade of grass, and every person. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it helped. Like I said, if you drop a comment below, and we might take a live look at this so that we can answer any questions and make sure that nobody's sitting in a space where they're in fear or worry about this, um, and just that and see it for what it is, that it is a good uh, thing and it's what's meant to happen. And we can usher this in the best way possible, for ourselves and everyone, just in peace and in love. All right, take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a really good night. I love you.